Welcome back to the EPM podcast. I'm Bob Toovey and this is Backstage Pass. In 2025, the volume of global smartphone shipments reached around 1.25 billion units. Combining new phone activations with replacement SIMs issued by mobile operators, total physical SIM card production for smartphones stood at roughly 3.2 to 3.5 billion units. In 2026, phone shipments are expected to be around 1.09 to 1.20 billion units. Physical SIM card production for smartphones in 2026 is estimated at approximately 2.9 to 3.2 billion units. That SIM card, that small piece of plastic that looks so tiny in your hand, really doesn't look like much. But when there's billions of them, it's a major problem for sustainability. This is something that Holafly is trying to fix with eSims. Now, an eSIM is an embedded subscriber identity module, a programmable microchip that's permanently built into a device's motherboard, replacing the traditional removable plastic SIM card. And when you're using less plastic, it's better for the sustainability and for the environment. There are also other considerations that Holafly aims to help with, such as improved security, bringing an end to unexpected high phone bills, and making logistics a lot less complicated. I talked to Ricardo Rodriguez, Head of Sales B2B at Holafly, at this year's meeting show. We talked about their solutions and why travel companies should be using eSIMs. Before we get started, a big thank you to our partners for their continued support, Vivid Inc. and Eventflow. More about them at the end of the episode.
Well, Bob, first of all, thank you so much for this interview and for the opportunity to talk to you about Holafly and what we do. So my name is Ricardo Rodriguez. I'm the head of sales for Holafly for Business. Holafly for Business is part of the Holafly organization, in which basically we serve corporate customers, and until very recently we were also serving travel partners, so basically the likes of airline companies like Iberia, BAA, OTAs like Booking.com, high street travel agents. Now that part of the business that used to fall under me is now part of the B2C organization along with our affiliate companies. So our focus again is helping corporate customers to provide their employees with secure, reliable digital connectivity when they travel abroad, so that they can keep on working and keep being productive the same way that when they are working at home.
Yeah, because you may not want to take your own company phone or your personal phone, because every country you go to is going to be a different way of using phones. They communicate differently.
Yeah, I mean, again, when you're traveling abroad, you are facing some challenges in terms of remaining productive and remaining connected. Normally, I mean, companies do provide mobile services when they are in their home country, and sometimes that same company provides connectivity through roaming services abroad. But those roaming agreements, they tend to be first. I mean, in general, they could have quality issues in terms of the speeds, bandwidth, and the quality of service that they provide. And also they tend to be expensive for companies, so and pay by the kilobyte or by the megabyte. So basically it's a variable cost. Whereas when they use companies like Holafly and Holafly for Business Services, what they are going to get is reliable speed connectivity on any country. We offer services in over 200 countries on a worldwide basis. And also they are going to have predictability, because they are going to know exactly how much they are going to be charged even before they travel. They are going to have a daily, monthly, or an annual charge, depending on the profile of the user and how often is that person traveling. And they're not going to know exactly how much is that trip and that employee travel or trip going to cost them before they leave their home.
Nobody likes vague pricing. You need to know as advanced as possible how much is all going to cost, so you make sure it's all within budget, it's affordable, and that's the sort of thing you can help out with.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you are the finance director of a company, the last thing that you want to get is a bill shock at the end of the month, because an employee that traveled to Saudi Arabia, he started using his mobile connectivity both for personal and professional reasons, and without knowing, when he comes back, he has got a 4,000 or even a 12,000 pounds invoice.
How much? 12,000?
That's quite, let's say, usual. I mean, it's not
Wow.
unheard of. So there are certain countries in which the cost per megabit could be even hundreds of euros. Because the local connectivity is expensive, the corporate customers have not been able or willing to negotiate the roaming tariffs with their existing vendors. And as a result, when someone travels, they are not aware of those high costs within those countries. They don't realize that they should be looking for other options to be connected and become productive, or continue being productive when they travel for corporate reasons. And when they come back next month, they get hit by this highly inconvenient invoices.
An invoice they just weren't expecting. How much was that? Yeah, I can imagine that. So knowing in advance as possible what the rates are, what it's probably going to cost you, is going to help a lot of the financial people within the company feel a bit better about things, keeping it within the budget for the project.
Yeah, so let me say that it's not only about let's say the cost saving. Obviously, savings from a corporate perspective is quite important, but there are three main benefits about using travel eSIM from Holafly for Business. I mean, I would like to obviously start by the convenience. It's a digital product, okay? So it's extremely simple to procure. It is very simple to distribute among your employees, and it doesn't has any plastic or any, let's say, environmental effects. So from an ESG perspective, it's a digital product, and you will be helping to save significant amounts of carbon dioxide being thrown into the atmosphere just by using this product. So this is an extremely important benefit for many companies, as they are more and more aware about sustainability and about the effects of using digital products instead of traditional off-the-shelf packaged products.
I was going to get on to the sustainability side. So you guys have got eSIMs, I believe, electronic SIMs.
Correct.
So we're not using little tiny plastic chips. You can program all you need to know into the phone electronically. So it's like over-the-air setups.
That's 100% digital product. So it substitutes the traditional plastic eSIM, plastic physical SIM cards that we're all, let's say, very used to. And the consequence of that is that you will not only be saving the environment from the plastic chips and all the packaging that is associated to it, but also with all the logistic and all the transportation costs that are associated to it. So it's not just the production and the cost of the actual physical SIM card, but it's everything that is related to the logistics and the distribution of that product from the factories up to the consumer final destination.
Yeah, that's probably something that people don't often consider. If you've got a large amount of staff who need to have their phones updated or change their phones, lost, broken, whatever, the logistics of replacing them in large batches, so you don't want to be handing things out to people. If you can actually program in, if you can do it programmatically, and say, right, all these phone numbers need to have these new SIMs installed, then that becomes a much easier way of doing things.
No, definitely. I mean, there's a huge, let's say, logistic problem solved by using digital products like Holafly eSIMs. You basically using our distribution platform, that is, it's an online platform that we call HBC, Holafly for Business. You will be basically able to procure, store, and assign those eSIMs to any of your employees at the click of a button. So you will be saving, again, not just the plastic and the, let's say, all the contamination associated to the logistic and distribution, but you will be able to seamlessly distribute the product just at the click of a couple of buttons in your computer. So you don't need to actually involve any logistics, you don't need to involve any transportation, you don't have the hassle of having to wait to receive the physical plastic at your home in order to be able to install it and have the service. So from a corporate IT perspective, the usage of eSIM simplifies dramatically the overall IT process of buying and distributing the SIMs. And from an employee perspective, the fact that you can get your eSIM before you travel, get it installed on the fly just by scanning a QR code, and be ready to connect and be ready to work as soon as you land in the foreign countries, and massive improvement in terms of the customer experience and the enterprise experience.
Yeah, absolutely, because there's several things that I think people may not realize, and that's one of them. The fact that if you did the old way with a plastic SIM that comes with all the packaging and everything, that it might actually take quite a lot of time to come through. That may be posted to you or they're delivered in some way. So is it going to come in time for when you travel?
Correct. I mean, you obviously need to plan for the logistics. Let's assume that you had taken like 1 week to get all the delivery process from, let's say, the procurement of the eSIM card up to the point in which it's delivered. It means that you need to plan at least a couple of weeks in advance. Whereas with Holafly, you could actually do it basically any time before you travel, while you are traveling, or even after you are at the destination, because you could get the eSIM distributed at any point of time during your traveling process. So the convenience of the product and the usability of the product increases dramatically. So again, and as I was saying before, it's not just about cost saving, it's not just about improving the employee experience while they are abroad and they need that connectivity in order to remain connected with their co-workers or with the headquarters, but it's also about the fact that it's a digital product, it's much more convenient to use, and you will be saving literally millions of tons of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere.
Very important indeed. Yeah, there's a sustainability aspect of not having lots and lots of plastic. Have you got any figures of how much the plastic SIMs are contributing to waste?
I'll give you a few numbers, I mean, and again, without trying to be exact, because as I said, I'm not an engineer, we're talking about roughly around 150 grams per SIM that we will be saving, including both the production of the eSIM plus the plastic and packaging associated, plus all the transport fuel consumption associated to it. If you take into account that Holafly has served since 2018 around 25 million SIMs.
So 25 million times 150 grams. That's a lot.
I'm not going to be able to do the maths from the top of my head, but that's quite a few billion tons of carbon dioxide saved to the atmosphere. So it's a small impact on a per eSIM basis, but when you combine it with millions of eSIMs, it obviously has got a larger effect.
Well, considering how many mobile phones are in use, and also don't forget Wi-Fi. Tablets now have 5G, 4G, 3G connections, so they need these SIMs as well. So there are billions
of tons, definitely.
So moving over the eSIM means not only are you getting your setup done really, really quickly. It sounds so simple by the sounds of it. You're saving on them vast amounts of plastic. And also, as you think, for the people who are looking after, which departments typically look after the phones? Is it IT department or?
That's an extremely interesting question. So we have identified what's, let's say, the ICP of the companies that we work with. And normally there are two profiles that are involved in this procurement process. One is the IT manager, so basically the communications manager that holds the budget for the mobile services tends to be the person that is more interested in this type of services. And their interest is twofold. So first, they want to make sure that they have coverage for their employees when they travel abroad, so that when they arrive, they can get connected to their back office systems. And secondly, they want to make sure that they get some cost reduction, and especially they avoid the bill shock. So it's as important as to save some money as to avoid those unexpected invoices that implies a lot of time wasted trying to negotiate with existing vendors.
What I'm thinking of is if the IT department's dealing with it, typically within the company, without your services, they're probably having to send out and keeping track of all the phones. Who's got the phone? What's the phone number? What its codes are? And have we sent out the plastic SIM? So it probably becomes quite a nightmare if they're trying to look after hundreds of phones.
Yeah, normally they've got obviously device management systems that help them to keep to keep track of all the devices and the connectivity associated to it. Nowadays, we're working with a number of vendors in this area so that we can incorporate our eSIMs to those platforms, so that it's not just, let's say, a 100% digital convenience service, but it's also being able to manage through the platform that they choose in order to let's say, distribute the connectivity to their phones. So that's something in which we're working at the moment, and the idea is that we want to facilitate to the IT managers the way that they procure, manage, and distribute the eSIMs within their employee workforce. Well, the second, let's say, ICP, and just finishing your previous question regarding typical, let's say, buyers within corporate customers, is procurement. So procurements, they've obviously got targets about achieving cost savings, and they tend to be, let's say, involved in the vendor selection process. So normally we work with both the IT manager and the procurement managers in conjunction when it comes to the selection of their preferred eSIM vendors.
There's one thing that you've mentioned a couple of times, which I'd like you just to go into a little bit more, and that's the security side. Mm-hmm. And I take it communications encrypted some way. I mean, that's a hot topic at the moment and will be for quite a while, I should think.
I mean, definitely. Obviously, when people are traveling, there is a tendency to connect to unreliable and unsecure Wi-Fi hotspots. So,
like at airports.
Could be in the airport, it could be in the hotel, it could be in a venue like the one that we are in here today at the Excel in London. And sometimes, obviously, those Wi-Fi connections are not reliable. They are public connections, you don't know who is behind them. Sometimes there might be even some, let's say, honeypots for people to get connected in order to try to steal your data. Whether it is corporate data or it is personal data, there is always a risk that if you are using public networks, that information could get into the wrong hands. By using the services of Holafly for Business, you know that you will be relying on private networks and private connectivity. We are using the tier 1 networks in each and every of the countries in which we operate. So we will be working with the likes of the main mobile operators within those countries. And you will have the security that your data will be protected and that no one will be able to capture that data and use it maliciously. So obviously that's one of the biggest benefits that we offer, the fact that we offer private connectivity compared with public connectivity through Wi-Fi hotspots.
Sounds one of very important items. I'm sure a lot of company directors or the high ups in the company, that it's secure. They're reducing the ESG. They can report back that they've reduced by not using plastic SIMs, and it sounds like it's
cost effective.
It's cost effective, and also the administration of it.
Correct, that's what I mean. That is convenience from an administration standpoint of view.
We're going to finish up with a very quick question. We're at the meeting show. It's June. We're going through a heat wave. You have told me you're Spanish. How are you dealing with the temperatures? How's that going?
Well, actually, I mean, I've been here now for a couple of days, and I have to say that the weather in London is very nice. I lived here for 6 years, quite a long time ago, and obviously this is pretty unusual. Probably not anymore. So every year now we get heat waves, but I would say that it's not so hot. The problem is obviously the public transport. So when you jump on a train or you jump on the tube, there's no air conditioning, and obviously with this type of temperatures, that's a little bit difficult to...
The London Underground is well known for being rather warm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So my advice, lots of water, keep calm, keep rest, and look for the shadow. But otherwise, I mean, it's nice to be back in London and to have this nice hot weather.
It's good to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Bob. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Huge thank yous to our partners for their continued support. Vividink, PR and social media marketing specialist for the event industry, and Eventflow, the secret weapon for event teams who've had it with PDF exhibitor manuals. Links to our partners are in the description. If you enjoyed this and want to hear more episodes, then please subscribe to get notifications. Thank you so much for listening.